Here's the fact. You have a busy schedule, but you want to study English and you just can't find out how. That's when you realize that you have 15-minute spots throughout your day. In today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to effectively study English in 15 minutes a day. This episode is being brought to you by the Speak English with Tiffani Academy, the #1 online English academy for intermediate and advanced English learners. If you'd like to learn more about the academy and join tons of other students, click the link in the description below. Let's jump right in. This is going to be done in a 6-day cycle. Now, before we jump into this part, I want to explain something to you all. You see, English can be broken down into 6 different parts. You have expressions, idioms, vocabulary, reading, listening, and writing and speaking. Now, the bottom portion of this diagram is separate from what we are going to be talking about today. And let me explain why. What we are going to discuss is the top portion of this diagram or this graph. Expressions, idioms, and vocabulary. You see, these 3 can be grouped together. So, since you only have 15 minutes a day, let's utilize that time wisely. So, let's go right back to our previous screen, the 6-day cycle. Now, you'll notice that it says topic A for each part of this cycle. What you're going to do first is pick one topic for this cycle. So, let's look at day 1, okay? 15 minutes. You're going to learn 3 new English expressions. The focus of day 1 is learning new English expressions. These new expressions need to be connected to the topic you selected for the week. All right, why is this important? You see, English expressions are a very important part of everyday English. They're found in written and spoken English. So as an English learner, you need to study English expressions. Now, the result is you will become more fluent in English and will be able to communicate even better. Why? Because native English speakers use lots of English expressions. Now, day 1, how do you actually do it? How do you actually put these things into practice? So we've broken up our 15 minutes into 3 different sections, 3 5-minute sections. All right. So for the first 5 minutes, you're going to search and find, and you'll see our computer on the screen, the drawing. Go to Google. Google is your friend, and all you do is type out this exact expression or this exact wording, okay? English expressions about ... or related to ... So if you're talking about swimming, if you're talking about the news, whatever topic you chose for that week, replace the ... with that topic. Now, remember that the expressions must be related to the topic you chose for the week. That's why this is so important, okay? So spend your first 5 minutes doing that. Then the next 5 minutes is your study and learn 5 minutes, okay? Your goal is to get a good understanding of each new English expression. You're going to memorize and try to understand them. So 5 minutes is a good amount of time to learn 3 new English expressions, all right? Now, for the next 5 minutes, you're going to absorb and practice, okay? So you can either write the expressions on flashcards or just say them over and over out loud. It depends on what kind of learner you are. Are you audible? Are you visual? So you know yourself, okay? So that's the first 15 minutes for day 1. Now, moving on to day 2. Review and practice the 3 new English expressions. Remember, this plan is specifically for those people who only have 15 minutes a day, okay? All right, so day 2. The focus of day 2 is reviewing and practicing the new English expressions. This review and practice will enhance your ability to use these expressions in everyday conversation. All right, so why is this important? We're going to look at a very, very important quote from a man named Anton Chekhov. He says, "Knowledge is of no value unless you put it into practice." This is very true of English. If you constantly learn over and over or memorize things but never use them, then they are useless. The expressions you've learned are useless, okay? All right, so the result, you'll become more proficient in your ability to use them in real life. So how is this going to be done? All right. So again, we have the 15 minutes broken up into 3 different parts. Now, for our first 5 minutes, you're going to review, okay? You can review alone or with a group. It's up to you. Some people like studying alone better, and some people like studying with other people. So you can test each other, or you can just test yourself. Now, the second 5 minutes is going to be the find. Now, this is where it gets very interesting because you're putting into practice what you're learning. What you're going to do is you can search for those expressions on your computer, your iPad, or your cell phone, etc., using Google or any other search engine. Your goal is to find examples of where the expressions are actually used in context. So you're looking for blog posts or news articles that use these expressions, okay? Now, you just want to find the sentence where the expressions are, okay? You want to read over them, okay? You're not memorizing, you're just reading them. And it's helping your brain understand the expressions more, okay? And the last 5 minutes is the think section, okay? So you're going to think about your own life and come up with 3 different situations that match the English expressions. So again, you're not stressed during this time. You're literally just thinking, relaxing, and just thinking about how these expressions actually apply to your life, okay? All right. That leads us into day 3, okay? Now, you're going to learn 3 new English idioms, okay? The focus of day 3 is learning new English idioms. These new idioms need to be connected to the topic you selected for the week. Now, this is important because English idioms are used every single day by native English speakers. We use them in conversations, they're used throughout the media, and everywhere you go, you will hear idioms every single day, okay? So the result, if you are learning English idioms, you will use them correctly, which will amplify or enhance what you are saying and make it easier for people to understand you when you speak in English, okay? So how do we do this, all right? So again, the 15 minutes is broken up into 3 different parts. Here we go. Search and find. So we're going right back to the computer or your cell phone or whatever device you're using. Okay. We're going to Google and we're typing in English idioms about ... or related to ... Again, the topic you chose for the week. Each week you can choose a different topic. This is how you're going to enhance your English skills. Okay. Even though it's only 15 minutes, you will enhance your ability to talk about certain topics each and every week, okay? All right, so always remember that. Now, the next 5 minutes, again, is your study and learn 5 minutes, okay? Your goal is to get a good understanding of each new English idiom, okay? You can memorize, read over them over and over again, and get a good understanding of them. And finally, for the last 5 minutes, you're going to absorb and practice, okay? So again, you can either write the idioms on flashcards or just say them over and over out loud. All right, so moving on to day 4, okay? Review and practice the 3 new English idioms, all right? The focus of day 4 is reviewing and practicing the new English idioms. This review and practice will enhance your ability to use these idioms in everyday conversation. Now, one famous man named Malcolm Gladwell said, "Practice isn't the thing you do once you're good. It's the thing you do that makes you good." And I really tell my students this over and over again. Practice, 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 okay? Now the result, you will get more confident in using them, speaking of the idioms, and you will begin to recognize them more in daily life. So for example, when you're watching TV or listening to an English program, okay? All right, now how do you do this? So again, you break that 15-minute period into 3 different parts. First, you're gonna review. You can review alone or with a group. Next, you're going to find, again, on your computer, your iPad, or whatever mobile device you have where you can access the internet. Find these idioms in different spots, okay? Specifically, things that are written by native English speakers. And you're going to find those idioms and those sentences and how they are used, okay? And finally, think. Think about your own life and come up with 3 different situations that match the English idioms. This is going to be so helpful for you, okay? All right, and day 5 is going to be learn 3 new English vocabulary words, okay? The focus of day 5 is learning new English vocabulary words. These new vocabulary words need to be connected to the topic you selected for the week, okay? Why is this important? You see, vocabulary is the most required skill when learning a foreign language. And this is because all other skills depend on vocabulary. So reading, writing, and speaking are very important, but without vocabulary, they can't stand, okay? So what's the result going to be? Your listening, speaking, writing, and comprehension will all improve. So how do we do this? Again, break up your 15 minutes into 3 different parts. And this is what's going to happen. You're going to search and look for English vocabulary about ... which is where your topic will be inserted. You're going to look on Google, okay? Then you're going to study and learn. Your goal is to get a good understanding of each new vocabulary word. Don't just memorize it, but think about it. Memorize it and think about what you're learning, okay? And then for the last 5-minute period, you're going to absorb and practice. You do this again by either using flashcards or saying them over and over to yourself out loud. Or if you have another method of learning, you can also do that, okay? Now, day 6, this is where you're going to review and practice the 3 new English vocabulary words, okay? So this review and practice will, again, enhance your ability to use these vocabulary words in everyday conversation. There is a famous quote by an unknown author that says, "Don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you can't get it wrong." In other words, practice until you know it like the back of your hand. Now, like the back of your hand is a very popular idiom. It means something you can't forget, something you know well, okay? What will the result be? You will be able to express exactly what you are feeling. And that's your goal as an English learner, okay? So, again, 15 minutes broken up into 3 different parts. Here we go. First, you're going to review. Again, alone or with a group. And you can change this up. You can pick a group for day 6, and then for the next time, you can pick to do it alone. It's up to you, okay? All right, for the next 5 minutes, again, search for examples of when these vocabulary words are used. And just read. Again, read the example sentences so that you can understand, okay? And finally, think. Think about your own life and come up with 3 different situations that match the English vocabulary words, okay? All right. Now, I hope you enjoyed this lesson and I hope you learned a lot about how to maximize your 15 minutes. If you want to join the Speak English with Tiffani Academy and continue studying with me, click the link in the description below and I would love to have you join and become one of my students. I hope you have a great day and remember to speak English.